sinful means.
Hey guys, welcome to the Dave Darren Show. I really got to change that opener because it looks like I'm doing a music show, and here I'm doing topical stuff, doing political stuff. I'm doing things that are upsetting me. I should probably change that opener, and I'll get to it at some point. Today, let me. I woke up this morning. I had no intention of doing a show this morning. I might have done a show at 6 o'clock tonight, but I got so eager to do it, and here's exactly why. Here is exactly why. I've got a friend on Facebook, and like I said, I really call these people acquaintances, but I've got this Facebook acquaintance or friend, and he put up a video. He actually shared a video of something that he considered to be extremely relevant, extremely important to get to an audience, including me, since he knows me. Actually, I met him personally, right? So he sends me this thing, and I look at it with the context of what is said at the bottom, the meaning of the video, the reason he sent it to me. And I'm watching the video, and it's a video made by a legitimate news broadcast program. I forget if it's CBS, NBC. You can see it. I think it's CBS. You can see it when I run it. So I ran the video looking for the data that was identified at the bottom. In other words, I was watching the video with the wording at the bottom to see if the wording at the bottom matched what I was actually seeing, what I was witnessing, and I saw nothing relevant to what was said in the text. Now let me play it for you, okay? Let me play it for you, then I'll come back, and then I'll talk about it. And this is all about media, this video. The whole topic I usually talk about involves media and media manipulation. But let me play the video and shut up and watch this and tell me what you think.
All right, Maxie, we're going to go here.
I just wanted to say I was working the medic tent. I'm a CNA PCA. I'm trained in first aid. I haven't done it in a while, and I was helping a man who got shot in the leg with a rubber bullet. He was bleeding so much.
You saw this?
I was helping him. I was cutting his pants. I was trying to help him. I was trying to look at the wound, and they came up and they were shooting right at us. He grabbed a garbage can to hold it over me so I wouldn't get hurt. And I told him I wouldn't leave him, and I did, and I feel so bad. I couldn't. They were shooting. I was scared. They didn't care. They didn't care that he was hurt.
So he was shot by a rubber bullet?
Yes, he was bleeding so much. He was in so much pain.
But you did what you could.
I didn't have time. I did my best.
Okay. I want you guys to be safe here as well. And I don't know, we see people coming.
Someone's hurt.
And someone's hurt over there. They're carrying them.
Yeah, you may want to clear. And Maxie, you know what? Maxie, you may want to leave the area
some of the emotion of it tonight.
Okay, guys, you saw that. Now, by the way, when you saw it and you watched it, the news broadcast put at the bottom of the screen in that red block, it says law enforcement. What does it say? Law enforcement clamping down on the streets. Law enforcement cleaning the streets, all right? That's what they're doing. They're emptying the streets because of violent protest, all right? And now let me show you the text that was on the bottom of the video that I was sent. This is what the text was. I'm going to put this down at the bottom here. And I'll have to blow it up or enlarge it. I'll have to make sure I don't grab my video here. I always grab the wrong thing with this software. Every single time. This software needs to be improved. Okay, I think I got it now. Okay, so here we go. All right, like I said, the person sent me this video. It's a person I know, I've met. I like him, I tolerate him. Outside of politics, we are completely different politically. But I like the guy. I didn't want to get rid of him. I did block him at one point because I had just about had it with him. And then I decided, you know what, I should be more tolerant of people, because he's a great guy outside of politics, so I don't want to get rid of him, so I brought him back and unblocked him. We've been talking ever since, periodically. Now he gets me involved in this political stuff again. Now he knows probably knows I'm doing more political shows now, more topical shows, so he wants to get me involved in this. Now, read the bottom. It says, Minneapolis police stormed medical tent and shot nurses. Black Lives Matter, justice for George Floyd. All right, now let's read it again. And then I'm going to play the video. And in the video, I wish he would have indicated where he thought he saw a medical tent and shot nurses. You know, because that's what he said. In the bottom of the video that he sent me, the sharing of the video, placed at the bottom of it are these words: Minneapolis police stormed medical tent and shot nurses. And this woman's there telling a story. It could be a true story. It could be a total fabrication. She's telling an event that she witnessed. That's what she's doing. And when we look at journalists, and especially journalists on a legitimate CBS broadcast, we're looking for, I wrote down the words, we're looking for accuracy. We're looking for something that's unbiased, which is, you can't get that now anywhere. Everything is biased, everything. They should not say they're news broadcasters. They should be called commentary spokesmen, because they're making comments. They're using their judgment to base what they think is reality, all right? So it's not unbiased, it's very biased, and it's a commentary. I'm looking for proof. This person is conducting the interview. Did he actually validate this person was a medical practitioner of some degree? Did he validate that she was actually working on this gentleman's leg that was shot by a rubber bullet and bleeding profusely? Did he validate that? Did he get any validation or credibility to the story that he's putting out there for the public to see and make an interpretation about how violent the police are? Was there any validation at all done by this news broadcaster or the news station mandating any type of proof from this news media, this newsman, that this actually took place? I'm looking for accuracy, unbiased. I'm looking for proof. I'm looking for validation. I'm looking for credibility. That's what I'm looking for. And this is what I got. I got someone sending me this post, sharing this video, sharing the video for me to watch and understand it and direct me into a path of, oh, Dave, here's proof that the police are bad guys. And it's worded at the bottom, Minneapolis police stormed a medical tent and shot nurses, all right? Let's play the video again and tell me where you see it about stormed, I don't see a single tent. I don't see a nurse shot. I don't see anything. I see one woman talking who could be a fabricated person who just wants to she wants to get on the news and she wants to create an avenue that she wants her perspective displayed. She wants her perspective to be part of the news broadcast, and she was successful because this newsman didn't create any background information, any validation, any proof that what she said was at all true. Or was it just a story? Was it a story for what purpose? Let's play it again. I want to play this again.
All right, Maxie, you know,
notice it says law enforcement clearing streets.
I was working the medic tent. I'm a CNA PCA. I'm trained in first aid. I haven't done it in a while, and I was helping a man who got shot in the leg with a rubber bullet. He was bleeding so much.
You saw this?
I was helping him. I was cutting his pants. I was trying to help him. I was trying to look at the wound, and they came up and they were shooting right at us. He grabbed a garbage can to hold it over me so I wouldn't get hurt. And I told him I wouldn't leave him, and I did, and I feel so bad. I couldn't. They were shooting. I was scared. They didn't care. They didn't care that he was hurt.
So he was shot by a rubber bullet?
Yes, he was bleeding so much. He was in so much pain.
But you did what you could.
I didn't have time. I did my best.
Okay. I want you guys to be safe here as well. And I don't know, we see people coming.
Someone's hurt.
And someone's hurt over there. They're carrying them.
Yeah, you may want to clear. And Maxie, you know what? Maxie, you may want to leave the interview too.
Emotion of it tonight.
Now, what do I see there? I saw a news broadcaster either intentionally trying to manipulate a viewpoint or being manipulated by that woman to get her viewpoint out there and have it substantiated by a newsman and a news broadcast station to get this agenda out there. That's what I saw in that video. I didn't see, did you guys see a tent? Did you see anything burning? Did you see anything at all to match the text that I got that says Minneapolis police stormed medical tent and shot nurses? Now, first of all, I don't think she even said that she didn't look shot. Did she look shot to you? I didn't see anything at all. I didn't see a background with police around a tent. I didn't even see that. I didn't see, and you know, then you got to come up to the other point. You got to come up, you know, she says that a guy was shot in the leg with a rubber bullet. That's what she says. Now, was there any indication? Did she make any representation of why he was shot? Why was he shot? You know, basically, if these protests are getting pretty violent, they're not protests to protest what the meaning of the protest is. The meaning of the protest is supposed to be George Floyd was shot. He was murdered. He was killed. It was a violent act. So now what do we want to do? Do we just want to perpetuate the violence? It seems like that's what we want to do. We want to perpetuate the violence. One person was killed, so now thousands of people have to be threatened, have to be stuck in their homes again because they don't want to go out to the streets. For instance, today I don't even want to go to a mall because if I go to the mall, I'm going to see the devastation that occurred by criminals. Let's call them criminals because they're criminals. They need to be convicted of a crime. They need to serve time for the crime. And now, my God, if the police attempt to restrain them or attempt to do anything to them at all, it's perpetuated into a domino effect of that one policeman who was wrong, who was a criminal. But now we got to think that all the policemen that are out there now conducting business like they're supposed to do, like they're expected to do, like they take an oath to do, they can't do their jobs now because if one of them does something wrong to even break a pinky finger on somebody, they are now criminals and participating in what George did or what they did to George. And this has nothing to do with race anymore. This has zero to do with race. It has to do with violence. It has to do with terrorizing people. It has to do with all of that. This is actually, I've said it before, this is generational warfare. When you look at the acts of violence, you look at the acts of criminals, what do you see? You see a bunch of young kids, 20 years old, 25 years old, who are now lashing out because they've been lashing out all of their lives. If you think about it, they go to school, they lash out in the schools, and the teachers can't do anything to them except to allow them to lash out because they can't hit them at all. They cannot restrain them. They cannot discipline them at all. They come home, I said, my next door neighbor, a kid comes home and I witnessed this. I witnessed this firsthand. Kid comes home and he's cursing his dad, saying, "Fuck you, Dad," literally. "Fuck you, Dad," to his parent. And his parent can't hit him or discipline him because then the parent's going to be brought to court by the kid saying, "Violence in my home. My father hit me, beat me, spanked me, used a ruler on me, used a belt on me." So there's no discipline whatsoever. So the kids get out of hand. And when they have an opportunity to get out of hand beyond, they just go in leaps and bounds and leap into windows, breaking the windows and bounding out of the facility with product that they never paid for. They're shoplifters. They're criminals. Shoplifters can be convicted, right? Can't they be convicted? These are shoplifters. And then you get a guy there who now, according to this woman, was shot in the leg by a rubber bullet. First of all, restraint was used because he was shot with a rubber bullet. What was he doing? Does she tell us what he was doing? Did the news broadcaster ask, well, I'm curious. The guy's he's shot in the leg. You're telling me you're giving him service. Out of curiosity, why was he shot in the leg? Was he looting? Was he being a criminal? Was he inciting violence? Was he breaking into a building that he doesn't own? Stealing, looting, setting a fire? Why was he shot in the leg by a rubber bullet? Why? Give me that reason. Why? We don't want to ask that question. We do not want to ask that question. When you go to these protests and you're thinking it's going to be peaceful, you know what? I heard someone say, if I'm not participating in these protests, that I am validating the murder of George Floyd, and I am a racist because I approve of the shooting of George Floyd. I never said that at all. I never said that. I never meant it at all. What he died, it was wrong. There should be prosecution, punishment, a criminal trial, probably an award to the family for the loss of a loved one financially. So there's going to be all of that. There is going to be all of that. People are up in arms within 10 minutes because the policeman wasn't arrested. Now, when you're a policeman there, you're supposed to be there and you're trusted. When you break that trust or there's a doubt in that trust, it takes time. It can't be in 10 minutes because they have to get video. If there's video available, they have to look at all angles of the video. They have to see why George was held down. They have to figure out if he was held down the correct way, the incorrect way, an approved way. They have to figure all that out. They can't figure it out in 10 minutes. Now, could they have taken him and put him into custody even to protect himself? They could have done that. Should they have done that? I'm not sure if they should have or legally could have done that. If they did it, would the protest have ended there? No, absolutely not, because then it wouldn't have been a protest that he wasn't arrested quick enough. It would be a protest that a black man was murdered. It would have still been the same exact scenario. And it would have been the same attempt to make this seem like it's racially motivated, these protests, when it is not. It is a generational warfare. We see generations of people, young people, that have been educated by liberals who are now out of control, who think that they have control, and they want control because they feel like they've been held back. They feel like they've been held back by my generation of boomers. That's what they feel. They've been held back, and here's a way they've been held back all of this length of time. They've been in restraints because they can't have what they want, because they've gotten everything they want from school. They've gotten everything they want from their parents, who have been liberally letting them have whatever they want. They come home, they're angry at their parents. What do their parents do now to make them more respectful to their parents? Do they hit them with a belt or a ruler? They can't do that. So what do? They hit them with products. They hit them with a PlayStation. They hit them with a car. They hit them with a mini bike to earn their respect, when that's not earning respect. That's actually giving someone something that they never earned, that they didn't even deserve, and treating them to that, making them think that they're entitled all their lives. Then finally, when they get out of school and they're on the street and they see that all that entitlement attitude was a bunch of bullshit given them by their school and their parent, and they're not entitled to that big screen TV behind the window of that business that someone has busted their ass for to open that business and taken the risk of opening that business, because business is tough. I have my own business. I've had 2 other ones before this. To be a business owner is not easy. There's risk and there's trial and tribulations. This is not an easy thing to do. And you trivialize it by breaking into the building, stealing what you want, because no longer is your parent there to give it to you, or a school system to give it to you with your liberal education that you deserve, you're entitled to. You need to get that. Without a work ethic to get that, you just break in as civil unrest and conduct your illegal criminal activities of violence, burning down, decimating people's buildings. You never even met these people. And then you get a person on here who's part of the news media, who brings on an individual person that's not qualified. We don't know her credentials. We don't know who she is. She's someone that came out of nowhere in front of a news person who's got no credentials to validate who she is. We have no proof that even what she's talking about is any truth into it. We don't see her with a video over a guy with a shot up leg due to a rubber bullet, with the amount of blood that she says was gushing all over the place. We don't know why he was shot to begin with. We don't know anything except for a broadcast just trying to incite that the police are bad guys. The police are there because they've got to be there. There's one, and somewhere, where was it? I don't actually have it right now. Yesterday I aired something where the police department was pulling back their police force to protect them, and just letting that community burn, get looted, become picked apart because the police don't want, the police sergeant, the chief of police in that area, wanted to move the police out of there just to say, okay, decimate that area, we give it up. Yet there's still people in that area, so you're giving up violence to the people that want to commit violence, opening it up to allow them to just continue to decimate that area when there's still people there, and when your responsibility as policemen are to protect the people there that need the protection. And now you've got another news broadcast here who's trying now to make sure that police are handcuffed even more, and the criminals who are handcuffed because they're not entitled any longer, they're not given everything that school has educated them that they are entitled to, that they need to get. Their parents have entitled them because instead of disciplining them, they entitle them to the mini bike, the TV in their bedroom. They entitle them to everything that they're not entitled to, by the way. They just give it to them. And then when the kids get on the street, after their education's finished, after they fought with their parents enough, where they hate their parents enough, so they want to get out on their own, but they can't afford to get out on their own because they're not able to do so because they think that everything is going to be given to them. And now they get out there and they see how it really is, how tough it is out there, and that they can't make ends meet when they were told all along that they're entitled to it. They're entitled to the easiest life that's possible on the planet. And when they can't get it, you know what? They're going in there, breaking into Target, taking food out, taking out products so that they can have a better life that they never earned. That's what we're seeing. That's exactly what we're seeing here. We are seeing entitled millennials going out and taking what they need because all along they've been entitled to it. Now they don't have it, so they want it. They're seeing storefronts that are available to break into under the fake manipulated, what do we call it? Camouflage of a story behind it. This is all about George Floyd. We're breaking his window and we're stealing out a CD player. There's no CD players anymore. They're in stores in Target stealing chicken, milk, vegetables, groceries. They probably don't need to steal that because they're all probably on fucking welfare anyway. So what are they? They're on food stamps anyway, so they probably don't need to steal food. But they're in there stealing stuff. They're breaking into jewelry stores someplace. I think I saw on Rodeo Drive in California. They're stealing expensive product. And what are they going to do with them? They're not going to use them. They're going to put them on the market. And I can't. If I dare say they're going to put them on the black market, someone's going to say, "Dave, you're racist. You used the word black." I can't even say they put them on the black market, even though the black market has nothing to do with race at all. But now I'm going to offend someone by saying they're not going to use those items, the Gucci bags or the Christian Dior bags. They're not going to use them. They're going to put them on the black market and sell them. But I can't say they're going to put them on the black market because everyone that says I'm racist is going to come back and they're going to isolate those words. If I was a big news broadcaster on a big station, they would take my context and they would take that word black, take the word market away from it, and they would use that against me because that's the manipulation of media. That's the stupidity of media. And that's what I just played for you, which I'm going to play again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this up. This is, like I said, a friend of mine, a Facebook acquaintance of mine. Let me call it back, a Facebook acquaintance of mine. And I think I'm going to even block today because I'm fed up with him now. At this point, I'm fed up with him because he sends me this video thinking that what? He thinks he's going to manipulate me by watching this video. And underneath of it says, Minneapolis police stormed medical tent and shot nurses. So when he sends me that, doesn't he think I'm intelligent enough to look at the video and look for a tent in the background? Look for police around a tent in the background. The forefront may very well be this woman talking about what's going on. But in the background, I want to see what she's talking about. I want some kind of proof and validation of what she's talking about is truthful and or she's not staged or some fanatic that just wants to get airtime. They enrage people against the police department and say that every single police, of course the one that shot George Floyd is a criminal. Of course. But now they want to make it about every single and solitary policeman that you see is as dangerous as the one that killed George Floyd. Every single policeman now has the same agenda, the same level of violence, the same level of wanting to kill you. No matter what race you are, they want to kill you. Now they just want to kill. They just want to go out there and shoot them up. They would prefer not even to use rubber bullets. They prefer to use real bullets. This person is saying that. She's discussing something. And my friend, my acquaintance, let me take that back, who's no longer going to be my friend, because I am going to block him. I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of his attempt to manipulate me. And his followers try to manipulate me because the thread, which now my video is getting like 3 views right now. The thread actually probably had about 30. I wish I could get the show to be more popular because I think I've got stuff to say that should be heard. I don't have time in my day to market this show. I was hoping some of you helped me to promote it. But of course, Facebook's, even if you try to promote it and share it, they're going to restrict me because I couldn't even air the show today on Facebook because it says that there's some kind of error in Facebook. Is it really an error? Or is it a manipulation to shut down the live feeds today or for a certain amount of time because they want to control and they want to censor temporarily until this blows over, until this video of this interviewer here, this news person, until this goes viral to the degree that people are believing that it's reality. They want to shut down everyone that might oppose it. And that includes me. So they want to shut down my ability to promote this video and talk about it and say what a disgusting attempt of manipulation this is. They don't want that out there. They definitely want that video out there, though. They want that fucking video out there with the words under it to read, Minneapolis police stormed medical tent and shot nurses, and now I'm going to play it again. And you tell me where you see a tent in the background. You tell me where you see shots being fired. You tell me where you see a shot nurse. You tell me where you see this man she's talking about with a shot leg, with a rubber bullet, with blood oozing out. You show me where we see that. I don't see any proof of this. And isn't news supposed to be vitally accurate? Isn't it supposed to be accurate? Isn't it supposed to be proven? Now you can put news stories out there. And when it's proven that they're fake, you on page 20 put out there a retraction of that story. When it should not have ever aired to begin with. Do your fucking home. You know, these people are paid to do homework. They're paid to prove that this story is legitimate. They're paid. They're paid for what? Inaccuracies? I don't want them to be paid for fucking inaccuracies. I want them to be paid for stuff that they did legitimate news study on, legitimate news validation on. Before they air it, they have to prove that it's truthful. And they're not doing that. It's disgusting. It's a fucking nightmare. Here we go.
All right, Maxie, you know, we're going to go here.
I just wanted to say I was working the medic tent. I'm a CNA PCA. I'm trained in first aid. I haven't done it in a while, and I was helping a man who got shot in the leg with a rubber bullet. He was bleeding so much.
You saw this?
I was helping him. I was cutting his pants. I was trying to help him. I was trying to look at the wound, and they came up and they were shooting right at us. He grabbed a garbage can to hold it over me so I wouldn't get hurt. And I told him I wouldn't leave him, and I did, and I feel so bad. I couldn't. They were shooting. I was scared. They didn't care. They didn't care that he was hurt.
So he was shot by a rubber bullet?
Yes, he was bleeding so much. He was in so much pain.
But you did what you could.
I didn't have time. I did my best.
Okay. I want you guys to be safe here as well. And I don't know, we see people coming.
Someone's hurt.
And someone's hurt over there. They're carrying them.
Yeah, you may want to clear. And Maxie, you know what? Maxie, you may want to leave
some of the
here
emotion
too.
of it tonight.
And by the way, when you put a mask on, learn how to put the mask on properly. Her nose is exposed. As she's talking, her mouth is exposed. Spit is coming out of her mouth onto the reporter. So at least if you're going to put a mask on, learn how to put the mask on appropriately and properly. Otherwise, don't put the mask on. And COVID-19, this whole thing has been a manipulation. Don't you guys realize it? I just showed you a video of manipulation. I just showed you a video of manipulation by the news media to now anger everybody that the police are out there killing people. They're out there breaking into medical tents. They're out there storming the medical tents with rubber bullets, and they're in there shooting up nurses. And that's what the video underneath of the video was posted by the person that posted it. They posted Minneapolis police storm medical tent. And let me play that. Let me put this up here again.
All right, Maxie, you know, we're going to go.
Let me shut the volume down.
I was working the medic tent. I'm a CNA PCA. I'm trained in.
Let me shut the volume down here now, and let me pull the text back up here. I've got to really figure out how to use this software better when I do stuff like this. All right, now she is talking about Minneapolis police storming a medical tent. Do we see a tent in the background? Show me where the tent is in the background. I don't see a single tent. I don't see police. I don't see firing of bullets. I don't see nurses running out shot. I see her utilizing a face mask ridiculously, inappropriately, with her nose exposed, her mouth talking where it pops out of the bottom of the mask, and spitting on the guy giving the report. And by the way, look at what the actual news broadcast says. Law enforcement clearing Minneapolis streets in Minnesota. I'm sorry, Minneapolis. I kind of keep saying Minnesota. Law enforcement clearing streets in Minneapolis. And now the person that sent me this takes that, gets rid of it, and puts on top of it, Minneapolis police storm medical tent and shoot nurses. That is not what that video said. That is not what that news broadcaster had in his red description at the bottom of it. That is not what was said. And then we have a news broadcaster who aired something with no validation, no proof whatsoever, nothing at all. It's complete. I don't believe that whole story. I think that person, actually when you saw her, I saw an insincerity in what she was talking about. It looked fake to me, and it could have been fake. There's no proof that it's not fake. There's no proof that it's real. It's something that it's ambiguous. You cannot project any reality or fakeness to that story. And unless something is proven true to me, I don't believe it. I used to do a show about UFOs. I do believe that there are other beings on other planets, and I certainly hope that they are not constructing their civilization like we have deconstructed ours. I hope that they're living better lives than us, and for them to come from wherever they came from to visit planet Earth, if they've come here to visit planet Earth, then hopefully they're more sophisticated than us. And actually, I think they should get rid of this planet because I think we are a waste of space on this planet. This solar system, this universe would be better off without this planet, although then we would have to decimate the animals. And I consider animals to be a far better species than the human population. We kill, we attack people based upon jealousy. That's what this is. We're seeing jealousy in the streets. We're seeing these young millennials out there in the streets because they're jealous that those storefronts have product that is not in their apartment. It's not in their homeless shelter. That's what they're and say, I'm going to get accused now here. I just call people homeless that are out there protesting. You know what? This is my feeling. People don't like to see what other people's feelings are. Like I said yesterday, you know, when you offend somebody, you know, are we offending people or are we just telling you our opinions? And when you take our opinions into your ear, you're offended. How about understanding why we have these opinions? How about that for a change? Instead of being easily offended, how about we start to understand why people are saying what they're saying? And to repeat what I said yesterday, and this is one thing that got me into my initial people that hated me. The day after this took place, or maybe it was 2 days after, I'm into like Marshalls or Target with my wife. We're trying to conduct business. And I see, my God, I saw that. I saw a black man in front of me, probably about 20 feet away. In my mind, I thought something differently than I have ever thought before. And I was honest in saying it. It offended some people. It made them think, Dave, you are and they used the word, you are a fucking racist. They called up my show. 3 people called up my show 2 days ago. 1 person called yesterday. I'm still being targeted on my chats or on my comments on Facebook that I'm racist. And you know what I said? And this is what I said. When I was at the store, I was looking at him, and in my mind was thinking, now, if I say good morning to him, is it gonna perpetuate itself into a war? Because I dared say hello to him on the worst day of his life, where he's feeling like the whole white population is angry and wants to kill every single black man because 1 black man was killed by a criminal policeman. So now all the black people are looking at white people like we're all criminals. And now I'm in the Target and I'm thinking now, would I be a better human being if I went to the guy and said, good morning, how are you today? Or should I stay away from him and just decide I better make sure that I'm safe and that my wife's safe who's with me and say nothing at all to him? What should I do? What should have been the ambassador in me of peace, the peaceful ambassador? What should I have done? Should I have done something there to make someone else feel good that not every white person wants to get on his neck in the Marshalls and lay him down on the ground with my 195-pound body and put my leg on his neck and kill him? Should I go up and approach him in a manner of, good morning, sir, how are you today? Good to see you in the store here. I'm interested in buying some of the stuff that you're in right at the same counter. How about that? What do you like? What kind of cologne do you like? Because it was at a cologne section. What kind of cologne do you like? I'm curious. Because I'm buying cologne and I'm not satisfied with the way it smells. So what do you buy? Maybe I'll try something new. I could have had that nice conversation with him. And I might have had that nice conversation with him before because in general, when I'm in a store, I do smile at people. When I'm at the counter, I usually tell them jokes. I got my dog with me. They're complimenting my dog. My dog sometimes will jump up on the counter. Not on the counter, but jump up. And they'll say, oh, what a cute dog. And a couple places I go to, one of the banks I go to, they actually give them a biscuit. Or if you go to a McDonald's once in a while, which I don't go to because I don't like fast food. If I go there, once in a while I go there for ice cream. They actually have a biscuit and they'll give my dog a biscuit at the McDonald's. So you know what? People are out there that were generally friendly. And if I wanted to be the generally friendly ambassador of peace at the Marshalls, I could have gone up to that black man and had a nice conversation with him to diffuse some of the anger or hatred that might have been in his mind or my mind. And we could have had a nice conversation so that one person was impacted by my being nice to him. But all my mind was, now what do? I can't go up. If I look at him the wrong way, am I going to be in trouble? Am I going to have him think, here's a guy, a white guy, who's looking at me with aggression? So, and I said that on my broadcast. And people said, Dave, you are a fucking racist, because that was on my mind. And I'm sharing with you what's on my mind as a human being to tell you what I am thinking. not for you to hate me, but to understand me and others like me who may feel this same exact way on that 2 days after. How did you feel? Did you feel a little bit worried depending on the neighborhood you were in? Maybe you were more worried than other neighborhoods where people, maybe there was just a riot the night before and now you're not in that store because you're scared of the environment. What do we need to do? Shut down all of those feelings, shut down all that dialogue, shut down all that discussion. And then when you shut it down, eventually something happens and it boils over and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse because we never combated it at the early stage where it could have been a discussion. It could have been an understanding of why somebody feels this way. Instead, now we have to be offended and shut the voice down. We have to say, I'm offended, so Dave, shut the fuck up because I am offended. Instead, we should be saying, Dave, speak the fuck up so we know what's on your mind, so we can deal with it, so we can understand it, so we can make things and adjustments better. Everyone says, how do we make things better? We make things better by stopping to be so fucking offended and hear people out. That's what we got to do. Instead, now we're having no discussion. Instead, what we're seeing now is people on the streets pretending this is about George. It has nothing to do with George. It has to do with everything about the liberal education, the liberal way parents are educating their children and letting them get away with liberal educations that they're all entitled. You're entitled to not a spanking. You're not entitled to a belt on your ass. You are entitled to a PlayStation because for me to discipline you, son, I've got to discipline you with material objects to show that I love you. The way you show you love him is you demand the respect from him so that when he gets out on his own at the age of 20 and 21, instead of being on the street attempting to commit a crime and steal something with the fake camouflage of the real meaning that for the fake meaning that he's given out there, that's all for George, in complete contempt for that situation that occurred. He's out there stealing because all of his life he's been entitled. Now he's on the street and he's never been disciplined, so he doesn't know how it's going to be out there in the street on his own. And then he's thinking, you know what, all my life I've been entitled to that behind that storefront. The owner of that store, look at him. I'm jealous of him. He's earned success. I don't have any success. I've been let down. I've been handcuffed. I've been held back by that store owner and every other store owners with the Gucci bags. I see the Kardashians on TV with the Gucci bags. All these people, they've got everything that I don't have. How am I going to get it? Oh, there's a situation going on now where there's race riots. You know what? Under the subtext of racial tension, racial violence, a black man killed by a white policeman, and now that there's a distraction in that perspective, I can break into that store now because there's a distraction. Police now are being held, they don't have the ability to use the force that they need to shut this shit down. So we've got them at bay. We saw policemen yesterday, I saw policemen taking a knee because they wanted to prove, what did they want to prove? That they are in agreement with the hate, how can I word this? They are in agreement with the base, how can I word this correctly? Because I have to worry about how I word fucking shit now, when you should know what I'm talking about. They want to be on their knee to show their support for the initial event that took place. And when they're on their knee, they're not in support of the initial event that took place, which was the murder of George Floyd. They're on their knees submitting to violence and terror in our streets. When they're on their knee, they are submitting to giving the ability to criminals to violate, desecrate, manipulate, and terrorize the population that they are manipulating and terrorizing. That's what they're doing. When they're on their knees, they should not be on their knees. They should be on their guard to make sure that they protect those business owners who busted their asses to own those businesses, who are taking risks to own those businesses, who are taking insane risks now by even attempting to keep them open with the level of potential attack on that building, with the level of now things are closed down again after 3 months of being closed down because of this fake COVID-19 bullshit that's going on out there. So now they're closed down again. How long do you think these businesses can stay open before the people in that community that live in the community, and some of them clearly don't live in those communities, they're there to destroy that community and walk away from it and go somewhere else where there's less destruction. But the people that live in those communities, they are now unable to continue their jobs. Maybe they worked in some of those stores. Now their job is eliminated because, first of all, the store is closed down temporarily. After it's been closed down for 3 months, now it's closed down now because it's a dangerous building, because it's been broken into. Things have been, they got to go now for another month of closing down, or longer if the protests last longer and there's all of these curfews. It's a complete mess. And you guys that are protesting and telling me that the protests are not violent and that the police are there manipulating this situation, you get a fake news broadcast out there with no proof that there's any police violence there at all. I saw the video. I'm going to play it again before today's show's over. I saw a video that was manipulated. Someone tried to manipulate me. My Facebook acquaintance tried to manipulate me with this video. And others that are friends with him wanted to get in and chime in and say, Dave, you are a racist. You are a fucking racist. And you should hear the language that they use. And you know, I'm in there without using the language, and I'm there to have an intelligent conversation with people that just wanted to be hateful. That's what it was. I am outraged at this. I am outraged with the unbelievable stupidity of people. I am enraged with the ability to let people loot and steal, with one police force shutting down, not allowing their police to go in there to defend that community. They just threw it out there like it was like you went to Kentucky Fried Chicken and got a piece of chicken and it's on the ground now and the ants are eating it, the birds are eating it. That's what they did. They laid that area of that city out to be picked apart and destroyed. Business owners destroyed, any homeowners in that area terrorized with violence. Perhaps their house is going to be also terrorized and broken into and things stolen out. Unbelievable, unbelievable. But we are allowing this to continue because people like this guy sharing that video and the people backing up the video that have been manipulated by my Facebook acquaintance. They just believe that what they saw was legitimate. I'm going to air it again. Then I'm going to play a woman in this exact area who is terrorized, who is telling you the tragedy that she suffers, the daily terror, the daily unsafeness that she feels, the crying eye. When we play the video right now, look at this person. Look at the fakeness on this person's face. And then when I play the woman that is terrorized living in these communities, look at her face. Look at the reality in her face. Look at the difference between these two people. Look at the difference, the honesty, the truthfulness in these two faces. Here we go.
I'm
All right,
sorry.
Maxie,
I'm
you
sorry
know,
to
we're gonna
interrupt
go
you.
here. We have-
I just wanted to say I was working the medic tent. I'm a CNA PCA. I'm trained in first aid. I haven't done it in a while, and I was helping a man who got shot in the leg with a rubber bullet. He was bleeding so much.
You saw this?
I was helping him. I was cutting his pants. I was trying to help him. I was trying to look at the wound, and they came up and they were shooting right at us. He grabbed a garbage can to hold it over me so I wouldn't get hurt. And I told him I wouldn't leave him, and I did, and I feel so bad. I couldn't. They were shooting. I was scared. They didn't care. They didn't care that he was hurt.
So he was shot by a rubber bullet?
Yes, he was bleeding so much. He was in so much pain.
But you did what you could.
I didn't have time. I did my best.
Okay. I want you guys to be safe here as well. And I don't know, we see people coming.
Someone's hurt.
And someone's hurt over there. They're carrying them.
Yeah, you may want to clear. And Maxie, you know what? Maxie, you may want to leave the area
some of the emotion
too.
of it tonight.
Did you see that? This is what I saw. I saw someone with fake eyes. Remember that movie Scarface, Al Pacino? The eyes, they never lie. I looked at that person's eyes. I saw eyes that were lying. You saw precision there, by the way. You saw her quickly turn when there was supposedly another person that was injured. You saw the quick movement. You saw her grab her friend. You saw the newsman grab her arm like, oh my God, go help that person. Did you see that manipulation in there? It was like a choreography in a major on Broadway. It was like a choreography Broadway play. The choreography was that there was a person there injured. The person that was being interviewed suddenly turned around quickly, because, oh my God, I gotta get out. I gotta help somebody else. The guy I was helping with the bullet with the rubber bullet on his leg that was bleeding profusely. I can no longer help him. But that other person there, I gotta help them right now. I gotta stop the interview. I gotta get over there right now. She's running quickly. The news guy was holding her arm like, oh my God, get there, get there. Oh my God, help that person. Oh my God, get there, please get there. And then she grabs her friend that's with her, pulling her with her to help her. The whole thing looks staged. Did you look in her eyes? Like I said, Pacino, Scarface, the eyes, they never lie. Watch this video and tell me what you see in this woman's eyes. Tell me the reality that's in this person's eyes. Tell me what you see differently in this person's eyes who lives in these communities that are being terrorized by protesters under the camouflage of George Floyd's murder, camouflage to now being criminals. Criminals impacting businesses, impacting this woman's life. Let's play this. Watch this woman. Look at her eyes. You can't see her eyes because they're teared up with honesty. Watch this and tell me which video you think is the real video that was not manipulated but was true to heart and soul and passion and terror.
How was last night?
Scary. They went straight to Office Max, the dollar store, and every store over here that I go to. I have nowhere to go now. I have no way to get there because the buses aren't running.
That should go viral. That is the video that should go viral because it shows no matter what race you are, no matter what sex you are, no matter what sexual orientation you are, no matter what religion you are, this terror conducted by terrorists, not protesters, but terrorists, under the camouflage of doing this to honor George Floyd. Is this an honoring of George Floyd, or is this a terrorizing of a situation, taking advantage of a situation to terrorize this woman? And I'm going to play it again.
How was last night?
Scary. They went straight to Office Max, the dollar store, and every store over here that I go to. I have nowhere to go now. I have no way to get there because the buses aren't running.
All right, and by the way, on a closing note, like I said, the person that posted that video to try to manipulate me, and specifically one of his acquaintances on Facebook, tried to manipulate me, calling me a racist person. You know, I told, and he says that if people like me do not get involved in these protests, then we are in support of George getting killed. Basically, that's what he said. Let me get a little sip here. Oh, it's empty. I already drank all of my coffee. To be hyper as usual. I don't need coffee to be hyper. You guys see how energetic I am? So he told me, he said, if I don't participate in these protests, that I am part of the problem. You know what? I'd be part of a dead problem if I go to those protests because I don't know if I'm going to survive. I do not know if I'm going to, but if I go there and I see businesses being shattered, windows broken, I am going to want to break some heads. And what's it going to be? Me and the policemen aren't going to come to defend me because now the police have to be handcuffed, right? They can't do anything because everyone thinks that every single policeman now that does anything at all is going to be like the policeman that killed George Floyd. So they can't do anything at all. They got to restrain themselves. There's one police district I told you that pulled the police from that area because that area is out of control. They just decided to surrender that to the criminals. Surrender that area. Unfortunately, anyone that lives there or owns a business there, you know what? Our police, we've got to protect our police. Policemen are there to serve a responsibility. It took an oath to serve that community. And they're not serving that community. That's outrageous. That police chief should be fired, and every single policeman there should be fired. In fact, I even said the policemen on their knee now, taking a knee to support the events taking place now, should be lifted off their knees, brought into the office, and fired because you know what? They are submitting to terrorists. They are submitting to criminals. They're not submitting, saying that they are in absolute shock, terror, and outrage about the policeman that killed George Floyd. That's no longer the context of this at all. That is long gone. That is long gone a week ago. In fact, that was long gone 2 days after it took place. It has now become a terrorist organization to manipulate communities, scare communities, manipulate, and well, I don't have to repeat that again, but for this person that did say Dave, if you are not part of this protest, you are part of the problem. You know what? If you want to get involved in making things better, and we do have to get involved in making things better, by the way, that George guy should not have been murdered. He should not have been murdered. Now, I told you guys, did you read the history of George, by the way? 2007, armed robbery in a house break-in. Did you read that? Do you happen to know that? 2007. Read it. It's all over the internet. You can figure it out on your own. You can realize I didn't post it there. It's out there it's out there. It's a news story. It's a criminal record. George Floyd in 2007 broke in armed robbery. Armed robbery. He didn't just break in there with a potato chip. He broke in there with a firearm with the intent of robbing that person's home. Home invasion, criminal armed invasion, armed robbery. 2009, served 5 years. The only reason he only got 5 years was a plea bargain. 5 years he was in jail. 5 years he was in jail. And this was in 2009. So added up 2014, he gets out of jail. Now we're talking about 2020. It's a 6-year time span. Was he a saint? Was he an angel for that 6 years? Could be. He could have been the best person I would have wanted to go out and have dinner with, have lunch with, take him to concerts, enjoy the hell out of him, invite him over to swim in the pool, meet my dog, meet my wife. He might be the best guy. And like I said, did he deserve for the $20 counterfeit bill that he had in his pocket? Should he have been killed? Absolutely not. Now, how did he have the $20 in his pocket? There was a fake bank, what do they call it, counterfeit bill. You know what happened? You guys don't realize this either. What happened is this COVID-19 fake bullshit scare, which 100,000 people have died out of a total population of 328 or 325 million total U.S. population. I forget at this moment. That many people out of 100,000 have died. That is decimal before 0.031% of the population has died. 73% of them had pre-existing conditions. So this has not been a major scale for us to have shut down the city, the state, the country, and the world. We were manipulated. And you know who was manipulated? You know who was manipulated? George Floyd. He was manipulated because the place that he worked was shut down. Therefore, he could not earn his living. I'm sure it was hard for him to find a job because when you get out of jail, you continue to have that criminal record, which I talked about in other broadcasts. Is that really a good thing to do? When you come out of jail, when you served your sentence, you continue your sentence because your criminal background check continues the punishment that was supposed to be ended when you left that jail. Isn't it? You served your time. You served your punishment. When you get out of jail and you've got that background that you served time in jail, that's a continual punishment. You're punished forever. Basically, you are punished forever. The sentence was bullshit. You served your time. You served your time in confinement, but you are still confined because you cannot survive outside of jail. You have not served your time. You are continually punished. George found a job. He's continually punished because now that his job was closed down because of COVID-19, how hard was it to find that person that gave him a chance? He was in jail for 5 years. Armed robbery, that's pretty critical, right? And then he got a job. He found someone who was nice enough, caring enough to give him a shot. And now he's lost a job because of COVID-19, because of that fake scam bullshit. He lost his job. So did he have that fake $20 in his pocket because he got it handed to him not knowing it? We don't know this. It could have been innocent. I could have gone to a restaurant last week, which I did, and I paid in cash. I don't know if some of those bills were counterfeit or not. I don't look at every bill in my wallet and try to make a determination on what one's counterfeit. When I get a bill handed to me, whoever hands it to me, if I go to some place to eat and I get changed, do I look at every bill and say, hang on, let me check this bill out. Let me make sure it's not a counterfeit bill. Do I check them all or do I stick them in my wallet and I walk away and then I give it to the next person? We don't know if George had that situation happen. Well, we don't know if George, who was out of jail from 2009, 6 years ago, or was out of jail in 2014, I'm sorry, 6 years ago, now it's 2020. What transpired in that 6 years? Was he having a hard time surviving? When did he start that job? I don't know that. I didn't read that. But how we've got a guy now out of work. Did he need the money? Did he have the money? Did he get counterfeit money intentionally and use it to pass on to that store owner to buy groceries, because that's where he was. He was buying groceries, wasn't it? I think he was buying groceries with that fake $20 bill. And then all of this situation took place. But do we know George's background? How many people that protest George know what this background was? And his background, by the way, is irrelevant because he was killed, he was murdered, and he should not have been murdered for a $20 counterfeit bill. Not at all. What's the penalty for that? What is the? I don't even know what the penalty is. Do you have a fine? Do you go to court? Do you have a judge? You don't have a jury because it's a $20 bill? What do we do? What's the punishment for that? It certainly is not murder and death. So that's outrageous. But the people don't know the background. They don't know that George was a victim of COVID-19. People don't know that. They don't know that he was a victim of COVID-19. He was a victim of that. He lost his job, which was a hard job to find because he was in jail for 5 years. And now he finally has a job with someone that trusted him, and COVID-19 decimated, destroyed his livelihood. And it was hard to find that job. Now he's got to start all over again. And how can he start all over again without enough food to eat? Then he's got to get a fake $20 bill to get food. So we don't know that all of this is, a lot of this because of that fucking COVID-19 that you guys are brainwashed into believing that that's reality. We even had the person in that video who did that fake broadcast with that bullshit news guy wearing a mask. She's not even wearing it appropriately. It's not covering her nose and her mouth. But she's still there with the illusion that COVID-19 is significant. And this is just a whole trickle-down thing of bullshit. It really is a trickle-down of total manipulated bullshit. And then people try to manipulate me. Don't manipulate me. This Facebook acquaintance of mine is not going to manipulate me because as soon as his broadcast is finished, I am blocking his ass. And people say, Dave, you're all for not censoring your commentary. You don't like the YouTube censor you. You don't like the Facebook censors you. And here you're going to censor this guy who sent you this video. Yes, I am, because I'm sick of it. I am sick and tired of people trying to manipulate me. And when they try to manipulate me enough times by either phone calls or bullshit, then you know what? I do get rid of you because I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to be part of it anymore. I want to cut the cancer out, basically. And that's all I got. I'm done. That's all I've got. I'm glad no one called because I didn't want anyone to call. Did I even have my ringer on? Oh, I didn't even have my ringer on, so the phone wouldn't have rang anyway. So I didn't want to take calls because my point of view is important to me. It's important to the three of you that watch. It's an important thing that I wish would go viral. I wish some of my attitude would go viral because they would see somebody who's being open and honest about his feelings, and people are being disgusted with my feelings and saying it offended them. I'm sick and tired of people being offended. Hear people's feelings, hear them out, understand them, understand through understanding them how you can help make things better. If you want to attempt to make things better, then get into local politics, get into your city, state, federal government, become a lawyer, become an advocate, but don't become a loiter, or a looter rather, not a loiter. Don't become a looter and a criminal and a terrorist to prove your point. Become something more than that. Become something more important than that. Do you think you're important when you're looting a store? Do you think you're important when you're breaking in and entering and stealing and shoplifting? Do you think you're important when you're terrorizing the community that you either live in or don't live in? Do you think you're supporting the woman we saw who was crying because she's terrorized? Be more than that. Become that lawyer, so that you can then take on the rights of people that you think are being downtrodden with their rights. And clearly George was, all right? Become a city, state, federal person who is moving into making changes in law. Do something beneficial. Do something beneficial. Don't go out there and destroy property and think that you're destroying property is proving a point because peaceful protests don't work. So now all of a sudden, instead of being peaceful, you got to destroy shit. Because then what happens is people that watch you destroy shit, the entire meaning of it becomes bullshit. It really does. When I see any of these things on TV, do you think what goes on my mind is George Floyd? Absolutely not. What goes on my mind is the hostility, the terror that you put in this person's face. I'm going to play it. When I see these videos on TV of violence, of breaking in, of criminal, of terrorist, of destruction, what do I see? Do I see George Floyd? I do not. This is what I see.
How was last night?
Scary. They went straight to Office Max, the dollar store, and every store over here that I go to. I have nowhere to go now. I have no way to get there because the buses aren't running.
That's all I got, guys. Except, do not give me the layer of bullshit. I have a phone call here, don't I? Oh, it's my work-related phone call. So I got to get off the line now, guys. See you guys later on.
Sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
I don't even wanna keep the score.